the dangerous Ryan Gibson in the last over. Who made his way to 21, but then hit the ball straight to cover. And this one is pulled slightly to the side of the man at middle, and they get through for a single. So that takes Jake Doran off the mark. 58 for the loss of 2 wickets. Just one ball remaining in this ninth over. And see what the Thunder will try and do with this ball. Just probably trying to go rotate the strike, these two. Not do anything over adventurous, at least for a couple of overs.
Be interesting to see how Captain Morgan goes. Pardon the pun for those international viewers. It is, of course, a spice run that's pretty popular in Australia as well. He's been in fine form against Hong Kong. Scores of 30 and 42 in those 2 games in orange.
He's just dropping this onto the offside. It squeezes out the third man. It's good urgency in the deep, keeps it to 1. He will retain the strike for the next over. Owen Morgan, he moves to 2. And score moves along to 259 after 9 overs. Just 1 over away from the halfway mark here. Probably go as far as saying they were coasting along the Sydney Thunder, but they were going along quite nicely, and just a few hiccups in the last couple of overs, losing those 2 wickets of the openers, Jay Lenton and Ryan Gibson. They wouldn't want to lose either of these men out in the middle. Want to try and build a bit of a partnership, something that the Bangladesh Cricket Board 11 really struggled with throughout their 20 overs. Well,
look, it's also something that I guess for Jake Doran being out in the middle, he would be really looking to get into some good form. Also on Morgan, I said before, he had a couple of scores of 30 plus, but he would really, against a quality opposition like Bangladesh, looking to be getting a big total on the board. There's still another 64 runs to win, so maybe 30 each for each of them. Pretty good way to head into the first Big Bash League game of the Big Bash League 06 tournament, which of course kicks off next Tuesday here at Spotless Stadium for the Thunder against the crosstown rivals, the Sydney Sixers.
And that's going to be a cracking game, isn't it? 2 sides that would love to start the season 1-0. 2 sides that would definitely want to start 1-0. It's Tanvir is the new bowler, and he drives this down to mid-off for a single. And just trying to rotate the strike as much as they can here, the Sydney Thunder, without taking too many risks. 63 off 65. Crowd has got a little bit quieter than it was a couple of overs ago when we saw that second wicket fall.
This is probably where they really need the crowd to get behind them as well.
And there's a dot ball, and they'd love a few more of those. Tanvir following his right arm off spin at the moment. And dances down the track, lofts this, going down and then on the boundary, twist, a wonderful catch. Great work, and Bangladesh get their 3rd wicket of the day. He's lofted deep to mid-off.
Boy, the crowd enjoy it.
They loved it. It was breaking decibels there. It was lofted in the air. Lofted out to the deep and taken marvellously just inside the rope. It's only about 2 or 3 metres away from stepping over it, but did well to get underneath it, take the catch and get the 3rd wicket for Bangladesh. And Sydney Thunder are now down to 3 for 60 and lose their inspirational captain.
Yeah, big wicket there. They needed the captain. Well, sorry, not the captain. They needed Jake Doran to stick around for a bit more. Morgan is still at the crease, and look, he's now in charge to get this going along with the experienced Aiden Blizzard.
There's no more experienced players than the 2 men in the middle at the moment. Just having a look at the replay here. Doran trying to clear the rope. Used his feet well to get down the wicket. It was lofted and taken just inside the rope. And that was some great fielding by Bangladesh. Good bowling by Tanvir there, giving it lots of flight. This one just defended out to the onside, so I guess the thing that a wicket does, Ryan, has really slowed down the run rate as well.
Certainly does. Also getting a bit of turn here, Tanvir. Looks likely to maybe another wicket. Looks on.
He's putting the ball in some marvellous areas at the moment. just throws this ball up around that middle leg stump line, just worked to mid-wicket for no run. This one just dancing down the track and moving straight back to 10 variables. A very good first over. 10 gone now. The Sydney Thunder are 3 for 60. That was some nice bowling, but I'm going to vacate the commentary box for a little bit as Nick Cummings comes in, the general manager of the Sydney Thunder, to talk all things Sydney Thunder as the Sydney Thunder try and keep themselves on track for what they need to and get the victory here. I'll be back in a little bit of time, Ryan. All over to you.
Thank you very much, Jack. And the score at the moment as we wait for Nick Cummins to just get his headset on and get sat in the seat alongside me. The score for the Sydney Thunder, 3 for 60 off the 10 overs, 63 required, and it's starting to get a little bit tight here. Nick, welcome along. What have you thought of the game so far?
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's been a fantastic atmosphere, a great turnout, the crowd, particularly by the local Bangladesh community. And yeah, it looks like we've got a game on our hands.
Nick, you've been on board as Thunder General Manager since, well, you started before the Big Bash League 03. How have you seen the progression of the club from that stage to being champions in Big Bash League 05?
Yeah, it's been a lot of work for a lot of people to take the club from a pretty interesting position that we found ourselves in. But not only that, the league itself has grown. So part of what Sydney Thunder's done is, I suppose, catch up to the rest of the league. But at the same time, the league has grown exponentially. So it's pretty exciting to see 6,000 or so people turn out to a practice match. It's certainly, we were getting 6,000 people to a BBL match in BBL02.
It's very representative of the area that we're in Sydney, Western Sydney, that we do have a large crowd in here, mainly from Bangladesh, as we see the bowler come in again, bowling around the wicket to Blizzard, and they've gone for a quick single and they'll get through. The score 3 for 61 now. As I was saying, that we do have quite a large contingent of Bangladesh people living out here in Western Sydney. How have you found being able to expand into Western Sydney and get a lot of supporters from the area to embrace the club?
Yeah, well, we've got a very strong community program, which we spent a lot of time building a connection with the South Asian community in Western Sydney. So whether that be Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Afghanistan, we have an active and ongoing dialogue with fans from all those areas.
Fantastic bit of fielding there by Shivagato. Just manages to save them getting any more runs.
Yeah, so part of that, it's a really a long-term strategy as well. We find that by having meaningful relationships with the community, we're able to build dialogue and hopefully start to see some of those faces at Thunder matches, and we really see that looking at the surnames just in our membership database.
This delivery just then by Shivagato on the leg stump, and it was just played away by Morgan for a single through mid-wicket. Talking about being able to connect with the community, one of the big things that the Thunder has is the Thunder Bus and the Thunder Academies. Explain the processes behind them and the way that they get kids involved and kids starting to enjoy Big Bash League cricket. We'll just wait for this next delivery as the crowd is really starting to arc up here at Spotless Stadium, getting right behind the visitors. This one's on leg stump, it's flicked away again by Blizzard, and it'll just be another single. Well, in fact, they've turned back. So sorry, as I was saying, Nick, the Thunder Bus and those type of programs that the club runs.
Yeah, the Thunder Bus is a mobile vehicle that goes out to schools and clubs and community events, which was introduced.
The ball will come in again. It's flicked off the legs stump, and they'll just take a quick single here for the Thunder. The score out to 63 for the loss of 3 wickets.
Yeah, so it was introduced to have a direct conversation with our fans. Previously, we'd spent quite a lot of money on radio advertising, but didn't feel that we were necessarily getting the message through. So instead, we decided to go out in the community and have one-on-one conversations with our fans. So that's fans from our Sydney heartland. We're from Leichhardt to Penrith to Campbelltown to the Hillshire. But also we take it down to the border to Albury and Deniliquin, Orange, Canberra, Ballarat, Bathurst, and it really takes the taste of the Big Bash to the kids everywhere around New South Wales.
Give us an idea of what those trips were like out to regional New South Wales Orange and of course the Border Bash. What were the turnouts like?
Yeah, it was an extraordinary experience. Really, we had 3,500 people in Orange, and then nearly 10,000 people.
Oh, now that's big. That lure should drop just before the boundary. That's a 4. Well struck there by Aidan Blizzard, the man on strike, and he moves on to 6.
Yeah, nearly 10,000 people at the Border Bash against the Melbourne Stars. It's so exciting to see the people in the regional areas who don't get a lot of access to elite content, getting a chance to see their stars, their stars up in close and personal. So it was terrific, and it's really given us a taste to do it again next year.
We'll touch on the Women's Big Bash League very shortly because they're into their second season. We'll just wait for this next delivery from Tanvir. This one's outside the off stump, and it's just popped in the air, and it will just miss the 2 fielders who are trying to get around to catch that, and it'll just drop safely. Probably a life there, you'd have to say, for Aidan Blizzard. Yeah,
but maybe worthwhile giving it a whack instead of poking around at it, but which is sort of Blizzard's style. But there's lots of time, and I think he's spending a bit of time getting himself in on this pitch.
Tanvir will come in again, bowling from the Royal stand, and that's hit on the pads. It pitched outside leg and was never going to hit the stumps, but a massive appeal from the Bangladesh supporters and also from Tanvir, and not out the call. Nick, Women's Big Bash League, second season underway. Couple of good wins for the girls as well. Unfortunately, a game washed out today, but that's cricket. How's that side of cricket gone development-wise and bringing more girls into the game? As Tanvir comes into bowl, reverse sweep here by Morgan. That one will go away. They may be able to come back for 2. In fact, it's picking up speed down there, and it's going to go all the way for 4. What a shot there by Owen Morgan. And that's his first boundary of the innings. It'll move his score on to 8.
Yeah, I think, look, it was an excellent, as we see the replay here, fantastic. Oh no, that was the Aidan Blizzard replay. Clearly pitched outside leg, I would have thought, Ryan.
Oh, definitely. Not even worth appealing for. Maybe in the lower leagues, I've given one of those out before when I've had to be in the middle, and I haven't been back in the middle since. We'll touch on the Women's Big Bash League again in a moment. Tanvir comes in, leg break outside the off stump, and it's just slashed away by Morgan for a single to the man out in the deep.
Yeah, we've been blown away by the response to the WBBL, and I think that could best be summarised by an experience we had at the last game where there were queues of boys lining up to get the autographs of their favourite female players. So they don't even see it as women's cricket; they just see it as cricket, which is a terrific development.
We're watching this on, people who are watching this at home are watching it on a live stream as Tanvir comes in to bowl, and that's just pulled away. It might split the fielders. They're not really deciding who's going to go get it, and they just stop it with their feet, and they'll manage to pick up a couple of runs there, the Thunder. Very interesting fielding effort out in the deep there. Questionable at best.
Unorthodox but effective, I think, is the best way you could describe that. Sort of classic West Indian fielding from the 1980s. You remember, Joel Garner stopping the ball with his feet. Yep, that's.
You don't want to step on it either. That's the other thing.
Maybe do a Glenn McGrath.
So the end of that over the Thunder now 3 for 75 off 12. Nick, you're talking about the Women's Big Bash League and the growth that we've seen in the women's game. How have you seen the competition from perhaps the rebranded netball, and then in Australia we have the Australian Football League is expanding in with their AFL women's competition. Have you felt as if there's maybe a bit of a coming under threat, or is this just so separate and there's such a different culture in cricket that it can sustain the development of bigger women's sporting competitions?
Oh, look, it's definitely, whether threat's the right word, I'm not sure, but it's definitely a response to the WBBL. There's no doubt about that. And really, the accelerator is being put on women's sport. That men's sport's been professional for a long time in Australia, probably since the mid-90s. It's been truly professional, and women's sport is catching up.
Start of the 8th over here. The ball's pitched on middle, and it's just played away by Owen Morgan. The bowling of Shubhashish. Nick, talking about the growth and the numbers that we've seen from the Women's Big Bash League, a big part has been streaming online. There's now more TV coverage, but the online streaming really seems to be having a big effect on who gets to see it and the reach that this competition has. What's the new technologies that we have with social media, being able to stream online, done for the game?
I think, as Owen Morgan hits a nice one to mid on there, I think, look, what it's done is if your sport is not on television, or your sport is not broadcast, so that whether that's through traditional channels like TV or it's streamed, then your sport is not visible. So really absolute priority with the WBBL is making sure that every game can be watched if people want to watch it, because it's not just about the people in the stadium.
Shubashish coming in again now, right arm outside the off stump, and that is just well guided away by Blizzard, and he'll get a 4. Well deserved. It was a perfectly struck shot. It would have been a miracle for that to go all the way for 6, but he's struck that beautifully along the ground as well, and he'll move on to 12. Midway through the 13th over, 3 for 80 now, the Thunder. They need another 43 runs to win this clash against the Bangladesh Cricket Board 11.
Yeah, it's good to see Blizz playing those shots. It is his staple, you know, the powerful forearms and really clearing the inner field.
Just wait for the next delivery from Shubashish. He's just had to dry it off a bit on his pants. It has been a bit wet and wintry conditions here in Sydney today, and it chopped on. Blizzard is gone. He tried to play that one away onto the offside. It was never really the option, and it's put it straight down onto mid-stump. Really well received by the fans here at Spotless Stadium, and he'll go back to the bench down below us with 12 behind, or to his name, I should say, and the score now 4 for 80, and things really starting to tighten up here, aren't they, Nick?
Certainly are. He's really cramped for room. As you said, the shot wasn't on. But it gives us a chance to see Arjun there. And for those fans who haven't had a chance to see him, he's obviously outstanding with the ball today. But he is a terrific batsman and has actually got a bit of power for someone who's fairly slight.
He's... I'm not a tall man either, but I've stood next to him and I've been rather surprised by how short he is. But that doesn't stop him from being a good cricketer by any means. He's a product of the Thunder Academy. We saw their tour to New Zealand and then the Tri-Series. That's the growth of Big Bash League, even though they're playing 2020 cricket. The ability to be able to play, say, Lahore Colanders, who came over in that Tri-Series, it must be pretty exciting for the cricketers on ground level. You deal with a lot of those guys face to face. What's the word been like on being able to play those type of series?
I think it's invaluable. Previously what was happening is we were asking players to step out of grade cricket and bat in front of 40,000 people or take a catch under lights when they'd never played under lights before. Face Sean Tate for the first time. So what the academy does is give players the experience, in stadia, in front of crowds, under lights, against first class cricketers, and it means the step.
Shubashish coming in now to Nair, who we're just talking about, and that's on the back foot, and he's just blocked that away to cover. There's a direct hit. The crowd goes up. It was never going to really be an appeal. The crowd didn't even go up, but they're not going to stop the crowd from celebrating that.
No, they very enthusiastically, cheer just about anything, don't they? So it really is a way of grooming the players so they're ready for the big time. And we've seen, I think, 6 players graduate from our academy to have full contracts. Arjun being one of them.
Looking at some of the more high-profile signings for the Thunder for Big Bash League 06, Owen Morgan returning, it must be pretty exciting to have someone of his calibre come back to the club. Oh,
absolutely. He's such a dynamic batsman, and I hope to see some of that on display coming up. He'll certainly be a 360 player here.
Well, he's on strike now to Shubashish. He pulls this one backwards down to fine leg, and he'll just take a single to end the over. 82 for the loss of 4 wickets, the Thunder. 13 overs completed. Morgan on 11. Now, who's only just arrived at the crease, is on 1.
Yeah, he brings leadership, which is very important. We lost Hussey and Callis last year through retirement, and obviously the run out there. And so it's very important that we brought someone in, not only who could sort of fill in Mike Hussey's position as that dynamic batsman at number 4, but also has the ability to provide Shane Watson with support on the field and Ben Rural with support on the field. And he's a terrific character, and he's his 3rd stint. Thunder, in fact, of all the Thunder players on the list, he's been with the Thunder the longest.
That's incredible.
Behind Khawaja and Sandhu. So he's our 3rd longest serving Thunder player.
And of course, Gurinder Sandhu is one of the academy products, I'm quite sure. He came through that.
No, he actually predated the academy.
Okay.
So he played his first game in BBLO 2. He started the academy in BBLO 3. So he's a local boy, and he has come through. But no, it's I'll tell you the 6 in a moment after the next ball. I can remember them.
Shivagatu about to start. Right arm off spin outside the off stump. He's hit in front. Big appeal for LBW, not out. It was always going down leg stump, and they're questioning whether it was the height or down leg, and the umpire's just given the signal that it was pitching in line originally, but then going down leg. So Morgan survives the shout. Just look at the replay here. They're pitched in line, but missing leg stump by a fair margin, I would say. This one is on middle stump, and that's crunched down the ground by Owen Morgan. 1 bounce 4. And that's why the man sitting next to me has got him back at the club, because he can do things like that.
Absolutely, he's a terrific player. So yeah, the guys who are with the academy, Chris Green and Nathan McAndrew, both came through and played very well last year in the finals. Arjun there, as we mentioned.
Ball comes back in. This one's just outside the off stump, and trying to cut it there was Owen Morgan, and a direct hit again. They looked for overthrows from Arjun there at the non-striker's end, and it wasn't there.
Jason Sanger, who's an exciting 17-year-old batsman, who's one of the next big things, we think, and Liam Hatcher as well, who's a express pace bowler, bowls about 140, 145, and has got some really exciting cricket ahead of him.
Jason Sanger, I think he's the youngest contracted player for New South Wales as well, just at the start of this summer.
That's right. Yeah, he's a very exciting prospect in all forms of cricket.
Ball comes in again. This one's on leg stump, and it's just turned away by Owen Morgan through where a mid-on would beat. They managed to get a single, brings Nair onto strike. Morgan moves on to 16, the score 4 for 87.
Yeah, and this year obviously would have seen Jay Linton opening the batting, so he hasn't got a contract yet, but we're looking at bringing him in as an injury replacement player for Chris Hartley, who's broken a finger, so he'll be the 7th that's come through. So it's been a bit of a production line, and we've got a lot of young players sitting below those players that we think will come through in the next 2 or 3 years.
There's been 1 or 2 articles written about the fact that Michael Hussey's gone, that Jarks Cullis is gone. They're 2 very experienced players. Still have Shane Watson around, who's injured for a bit. We'll get back onto that in a second. Around the wicket, and this one's flicked away by Arjun Nair through the mid-wicket area. He'll take a quick single. The loss of experience has kind of been questioned whether or not the Thunder are able to replace them as batsmen. That's rubbish, in your opinion, or is that too strong a word?
Well, it's an opinion, and there's no shortage of opinion. I think we were picked to finish second last year.
Comes in again. This one's outside the off stump and driven straight down to the man long on, just a single.
So yeah, I guess if there's enough opinions, eventually someone's going to be right. From our side, I think it's a fair observation that we've lost quite a bit of experience. We also lost Andrew McDonald as well, who's a terrific leader and a great thinker of the game. But we've also got some good experience still at the club. Obviously, Owen I mentioned before. Ben Roller has played T20 for Australia. Clint Mackay a couple of years ago was the best short form bowler in the world. We've got some really strong characters to support Watto, and even guys like Chris Green and Curtis Patterson are very impressive despite their age. And at the end of the day, I think the team will be defined by the 9th, 10th and 11th player and what contribution they make, not just a couple of stars.
It's a good way to look at it.
Well, I think it's just about in every sport. The successful teams are those that have the depth rather than the standout star. That'll win you a game, but will it win you a tournament?
See a change of bowler at the Martin and Angus stand end. Owen Morgan will stay on strike. He's on 17, 2 for Nair, 4 for 89, 6 overs to go, and they require 34 to win the Sydney Thunder. Their home ground, Spotless Stadium. Morgan facing. This one's in, it's on middle stump, and it's just played past the bowler, and they'll get a quick single here.
I think this is a good situation where Owen Morgan's experience will come into play. Batting with teenage Arjun Nair, he'll be able to sort of guide him through. But Arjun's a pretty cool character, and not too many things faze him.
Good to see his bowling efforts before. very impressive with the ball. It's something to look forward to in the Big Bash League coming up.
Yeah, definitely. He's taught himself how to bowl off YouTube and watching Sunil Narayan, which is definitely a modern-day cricketer if you're learning how to play your cricket off the internet. But yeah, he's very impressive and he's still got a lot to learn.
Rabi coming in now. Nair on strike. Right arm, and he's hit this up in the air. It's going to clear the field. Is it going to clear the rope? It's just going to stop and die right on the spot that it lands, and they'll get 2 off that. We saw a shot like that in the first innings from one of the Bangladesh batsmen, and they were only able to get the 2. But they'll take that for sure. 32 runs needed to win now for the Thunder.
Yeah, Arjun's just come off a 3-day game against Pakistan and for the CA11, where in the second innings he made 40 or thereabouts of 100, and against Muhammad Amir and Wahab Riaz and the like. So he's a very capable batsman.
Rabi, and now this one is outside the off stump, and he shows how capable he is. A magnificent cover drive that'll go all the way to the rope for 4. Magnificent stroke play there from Arjun Nair. Moves on to 8, 4 for 96. Nick, normally we say the commentator's curse, but that's the commentator's blessing, that one is.
Well, I mean, I've seen what he can do. He's played a lot of cricket with the academy, as you said, with the Kalandars. With the CA11 in the Matador Cup, he was open the batting, against some good stateside. So he's if you think about what he can do with the ball and the bat, and he keeps working on his fielding, he could be a very, very exciting player. And the fact that he's only a teenager, spinners take a long time to reach their potential. It's good. He's just got to keep his feet on the ground and keep developing.
He's certainly coming along in leaps and bounds in this pre-season so far of the Big Bash League, and hopefully he can continue and win a few caps for the Thunder as well. As Rabi trundles in again, this one is on middle stump and it's flicked around the corner by Nair. Just the dot ball. 2 deliveries to come now in the 15th over. 4 for 96 for the Sydney Thunder. Nick sold out for the first game of Big Bash 06 against the Sydney Sixers. What's that feel like, to know that that's it, you can't sell anymore?
It's a really gratifying feeling to know that the fans have got behind us and we've sort of achieved our vision when we moved from ANZ Stadium to Spotless Stadium. There is obviously a little bit of anxiety about getting everyone in on time and getting them in their right seats. So
pause for a moment as Rabi comes in. 2 deliveries to go. Nair just pops this one over the top with a bit of a, I don't know how to describe that shot exactly, but just like a late French cut almost, and he just picks up the single.
He just sort of glided it down to third man, didn't he? So it's really exciting, and our ticket sales for the second game against the Brisbane Heat on the 28th were double what we were at the same time last year. So it's shaping up to be a really big season again, and I think the guys will put on a good performance. Hopefully we win games, but I think the main thing is that we leave everyone smiling at the end of the game.
Rabi to finish his over. Bowls this one on the middle stump and it's just played away to backward point by Morgan. Nick, before I let you go, when you have sold out games, how many more mates do you get coming to you asking for tickets than you would if there was no one coming?
Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of people you catch up with, but the players are more of a problem. The players are always asking you, say to the players, look, just to make it very clear, we have no more tickets. And they think you've got like a shoebox with a few more under your bed or something like that, because they'll still ask you for tickets. But look, if that's what we want to do. We want to create a culture where our members are given priority, and our membership's doubled since last year. We want to create a cauldron for the players so that opposition teams don't like coming to play here because the crowd is right on top of them. And ultimately, we want to provide people a reason to get off the couch. I mean, live sport is in an active battle against live TV broadcast, and clearly the money comes from TV broadcasters. That's where the mass is. But it only looks good on TV if you've got a lot of people sitting in the stands. So you've got to create an event, you've got to create an occasion, and I think that we're doing that.
Well, Nick, thank you very much. Best of luck for the upcoming season. It's going to be exciting to see how the Thunder go.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Nick Cummins there, the General Manager of the Sydney Thunder. And we're about to welcome back Jack Clifton to the commentary box as we see another change of bowling here in Tajul Islam for Bangladesh. Jack, welcome back.
Yeah, very, very nice to be back, and this run chase is kind of going down to the wire between these two teams as we see Borders nudged out onto the onside. I think Owen Morgan being in there has been a big part of this. Ryan, he's a player that so much experience. Like, it's an embarrassment of riches to have a player like him. And then, on the contrary, you got someone like Arjun Nair, who's relatively inexperienced, but is proving his mettle at the moment. 25-29, though. If Bangladesh can get a couple of wickets here, it could certainly turn the game on its head. We've seen a variation of spin and pace bowling as Tajul will continue. Love to get a wicket right now, Bangladesh. Dancing down the track and just working this onside. A chance to the throw is good. It's a high one though, and they comfortably get back in the end. They thought they might have had a chance there, Ryan. The throw just a touch too high. Yeah, leg buys as well there to Owen Morgan. He just tried to dance down the track and didn't really play a shot in the end, just almost a block that he would have looked to have got a quick single off, and they did in the end. So look, watch again on replay there. Hits the front pad, misses the bat, and just squirts away through where slips would be. And yeah, a better throw there, and I think Arjun would have been in trouble. Nair tucks this one of his pads. They'll pick up another single, and with the position that they're in at the moment, less than a run ball required. The pressure is, it's not off the Sydney Thunder, but they can rely on just picking up singles, and if there's the occasional bad ball, getting it away for 2 or 4. That's what they've got to look for here, but of course both batsmen at the crease can certainly hit a boundary. We saw Arjun Nair do it in the last over, and Owen Morgan a couple of overs ago. This one cut straight to the man this time, so very valuable dot ball for the Bangladesh Cricket Board 11. And Tajul will just be trying to just hone in on that off stump line, just try and cramp Morgan for a little bit of room. Fantastic crowd in here at Spotless Stadium as well. They've certainly made a fair bit of noise as well, Jack. Maybe not all for the Thunder, but a fair bit for Bangladesh, which would certainly make them feel quite welcome here at Spotless Stadium. It shows how loyal the fans are as we see Morgan just stab this backward a point. There's another single picked up. Maybe overthrows, but no, the man is backing up in the deep. But yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic to have loyal cricket fans that, yes, they're supporting Bangladesh tonight, but there's a good chance that they've bought tickets to the Sydney Thunder Sydney Sixers match next week and probably going to be supporting the Thunder. That's how it goes. And it's made a really nice atmosphere here as we see Arjun Nair just dance down the wicket and just drive this down the ground for the single. And they're just moving the ball around nicely, this pair. Was a little bit of a worry when they were 4 down, but they seem to have consolidated as of late. And that ends 16 gone here at Spotless, 4 for 102, chasing 123 for victory, so 21 more required. Well, it's interesting that, there's a Bangladesh colours are green. Maybe they just need to put their shirts on the washing line for a little bit longer in the Australian sun once it does come out, and just get a few shades lighter and they'll fit in perfectly. Yeah, definitely. And if they've I'm sure they've probably liked what they've seen from some of the Sydney Thunder players today as well. Certainly been entertaining with the bat and ball of the Thunder for sure. Be interesting to see if these two can just get the Thunder over the line. They need just 19 to win off 24 deliveries. Mushfiqur Rahim just staying vocal behind the stumps, pushing his field around, trying to get his fielders ready for anything. A wicket here is really valuable to this Bangladesh Cricket Board 11, and they need a few of them if they want to pull off a miraculous win here. This one is driven uppishly for a little bit, swerve the wicket out to deep point. It's well struck there by Arjun Nair, showing some really nice timing out in the middle. Very patient as well, hasn't waited. Hasn't tried to attack every ball. It's just gone after the bad delivery, which in 2020 cricket is exactly what you want to be doing. You don't want to really chase the good deliveries and trying to make them into a bad ball like Bangladesh did to start their innings, and that's kind of where they got into the hole. They tried to make every delivery a bad ball and try and hit every delivery, over the boundary, whereas the Thunder here have been very patient, punished the bad ball when it's come. Morgan on strike, 19 not out. He dances down the track and French cuts this through fine leg for 4. So, well, when luck's going against you, it really is going against you, isn't it? He dances down the track here, Owen Morgan, and goes to flay this through cover, but only proceeds in dragging it past the leg stump and down to the fine leg boundary for 4. 4 more runs, and it's starting to become less and less likely now for this Bangladesh Cricket Board 11. As we just see the instant replay here, he advanced down the wicket and was fortunate not to drag it back onto his stumps, but they say fortune favours the brave. It does favour the brave, and he was very brave on that occasion. Oh, I mean,
sitting down there if you're Aiden Blizzo just going, oh, how come that didn't happen to me?
This one worked through squarely. That's a much better shot there by Owen Morgan. All along the ground, nice footwork. Takes his total to 24. Argennaire is on strike on 13, 4 for 108.
13 to win, 15 balls. You'd think it'd have to take a wicket really to maybe put the pressure back on Sydney Thunder. Hasn't really been an inspired fielding effort by Bangladesh, despite the fact they've had a fairly vocal crowd to back them.
Yeah, I think they've just probably got 15, 20 runs. Not enough in their innings with the bat. This one is just knocked around to backwards square. Argennaire wants a second and he's going to come back for it. The throw gets there on the bounce. They take the bails off, but the umpire says not out, safely in his ground. Very good running by Argennaire. He ran that first run really hard and then ends up getting home quite comfortably for the second.
Pretty zippy. It's had a couple of close calls before. He's able to get back.
You watch here, he really takes off. He takes his first run, really puts his head down.
He knew straight away.
Yeah.
He didn't even pause. That was the key to it as well. If he had, I think, even for half a second reconsidered that, he was gone.
Maybe a slight blind turn. We'll turn a blind eye to that though, as he faces up this next delivery. And he defends back down the wicket. He wants a quick single and he gets it again. Another good run taken by Argennaire. And sure, not that many people know about Argennaire, but what I've been impressed with tonight is, as well as his bowling, has been his running between the wickets, particularly his last two deliveries. Shows that what a complete cricketer he is, not only with ball, not only with bat, but being able to run quickly between the wickets and pick up those quick singles.
We heard Nick Cummins before from the Sydney Thunder speak about the talent that he possesses, and I wouldn't say too glowing, but he was, did praise the fact that he's quite a good up-and-coming cricketer, and he said as well that he's able to open the batting, which is an option that the Sydney Thunder have, that they can use him as an off-spinner and an opening bowler.
It's a full toss, just defended back down to mid-on for a single, and with the men out in the deep, the Sydney Thunder can take it pretty casually now with picking up the singles. Just 3 overs remaining. Perhaps the Sydney Thunder won't need that long. They're 4 for 112 with just 11 required. So 11 needed off 18 balls. They could do it in a canter, but they also could do it in a struggle. We know cricket is a funny game. A couple of wickets from Bangladesh could certainly turn the tide. But the Bangladesh fans aren't going anywhere, Ryan. They're sticking around to see their faithful cricket stars, and no doubt will probably be trying to grab a few autographs after the game.
Definitely. Going back to what I was saying about Ned, a couple of other sides have done that before, played an all-rounder as an opener. I know that Ashton Agar opened a couple of times for the Scorchers in previous Big Bash leagues, so I mean, to an extent, it's an option that Thunder certainly have up their sleeve. As we actually see a couple of Bangladesh fans leave a bit early. They're obviously a little bit disappointed. It's a Friday night. It's 10 o'clock. It's starting to get a little bit later here. Should be out partying on a Friday night.
And it sometimes can be a bit of a battle with public transport. So I think they're just trying to beat the crowd. They'd be very upset if it ended up going to a super over, though, wouldn't they? or if Bangladesh pulled off a thrilling victory. Anything can happen. Still 11 to win.
Well, it's one of those things with sport, especially, cricket's one, but to an extent, games like soccer or football, you could be sitting there all game, it's 0-0, and then all of a sudden, a miracle goal gets pulled off, and we could have a couple of really good deliveries here, and things could change dramatically.
Well, Tanvir's been the best of the spinners tonight, and he comes back on to bowl. And this is lofted down the ground. It's high in the air. There's a man out there. He's underneath it. He chops it, I think, over the boundary for 6.
It may have just pulled up. He ran under it for a second, tried to get back. He stuck his hands out, but the way...
And the umpire has actually
signaled
six. So I'd say it's just come off the fingertips and maybe not gone over the rope on the full, but hit the rope on the full. It looks like he's just lofted that down the ground. He got underneath it, the fielder out there, and has dropped the ball over the boundary. So 6 very valuable runs to the Sydney Thunder, and they're within touching distance this over now. And he's back and cutting this time, and a bit of a deflection from the diving effort of the fielder out in cover, and they pick up a single, and then go to 4 to win.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that diving effort hadn't have pulled off, that could have very well gone to the boundary as well. Struck there.
He's not mucking around now, Morgan. 32.
End it with a 6. Come on, Arjun. That's what I want to see. Let's go out on a high. It's been a fantastic game, but be magnificent to see a 60 to finish it. Or a double hat-trick and then suddenly...
That would be very, very exciting. I'm sure Arjun now will probably be focusing on getting a nod out, but we'll see what happens. 4 to win.
It's all about the red ink.
Could he hit a boundary to finish? Tanvir in, it's lofted, it's a reverse sweep, attempted reverse sweep, and doesn't get anything on it. So a dot ball.
Bit of a smile there too. He thought he'd got away with it. He just managed to get underneath that ball, and he looked like he was maybe going to be celebrating with a boundary.
Well, there's no third man. There's only the man at point. So if he gets it past there, it's going to be 4.
Don't bowl short.
And this one, he does a reverse sweep. Gets past the keeper, actually. That's rolling down the hill. It won't go for 4. They'll come back and collect 2. So he didn't get it 1 ball. He tried it again, which sometimes can be your Achilles heel. He gets it away and gets a couple. And 2 away from victory here, the Sydney Thunder.
He bowled an almost identical delivery there as well, Tanvir. Not happy with what the wicketkeeper did. I didn't check if that was signalled bias just then by the umpire, but wasn't happy with his wicketkeeper. He kind of threw his hand and said, "What was that?" He said, "Well, I knew it was coming, so I was getting in the way of if he did manage to connect with it," and clearly it didn't turn off for either the batsman or the bowler.
Big appeal for LBW. They'll scamper through for a single. That previous ball has gone down as 2 byes, and this is going to go down as runs. So off the bat first, so Arjun there moves along to 17. So just a solitary run needed for the Sydney Thunder to close out this game. It's been a very impressive performance both with bat and ball by the Sydney Thunder today.
It has, and it's hard to pick a man of the match for either side, really. I mean, there's been a couple of good performances, but no one's really stood out.
And this is knocked down the ground by Owen Morgan, and that ends the match here at Spotless Stadium. So Morgan will finish with 33 unbeaten, Nair 17 unbeaten. The Sydney Thunder finishing at 4 for 123. So they win comfortably by 6 wickets. So handshakes and congratulations all around. The mainstay of the innings by the Sydney Thunder was the captain, Owen Morgan, with 33. He's backed up well by Ryan Gibson, the opener, who finished with 21, and Jay Lenton with 25. No real stand.